Imagine for a moment that you could stir a spoonful of sweet, crystallized sugar into your morning coffee, or bake it into a delicious dessert. And instead of spiking your blood glucose, it actually lowered it. Imagine a sweetener that tastes exactly like the sugar you grew up with, but instead of forcing your body to store fat and triggering a cascade of inflammatory cravings, it acts as a natural fasting mimic, tricking your metabolism into a state of cellular repair. Welcome to Dr. Levitas. It sounds like science fiction. It sounds like the kind of impossible magic pill marketing we always warn you about. But today, we are talking about wild, documented, peer-reviewed science. We are exploring a biological phenomenon that is completely rewriting the rules of metabolic health. We are talking about the reverse sugar phenomenon, driven by a rare compound many ignore. Please hit the like button and leave a comment. Your engagement is a huge help to the channel. If you have struggled with sugar cravings, I want you to take a deep breath and let go of any guilt right now. Your desire for sweet things is not a lack of willpower. It is an ancient, hardwired evolutionary survival mechanism. Your brain is programmed to seek out quick energy. The problem is the modern food environment that has flooded our plates with refined, ultra-processed sugars. But nature, in her infinite wisdom, created something of a loophole. Enter allulose. Allulose is what nutritional biochemists call a rare sugar. It occurs naturally in very small, trace amounts in foods like figs, raisins, maple syrup, and jackfruit. Now, if you look at the molecular structure of allulose, it is almost identical to fructose, the sugar found in fruit. They have the exact same number of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen atoms. But there is one tiny, microscopic difference. In allulose, a single hydroxyl group is flipped. It is what we call an epimer. So, why does this one flipped molecule matter so much? Because your body's digestive system operates on a lock and key mechanism. Your digestive enzymes are the keys. They are perfectly shaped to unlock and break down glucose and fructose, turning them into usable energy or storing them as fat. But because of that one flipped molecule, your body does not possess the enzyme key to unlock allulose. So, what happens? You eat it, it tastes about 70% as sweet as table sugar, and it gets absorbed through your small intestine into your bloodstream. But when it reaches your liver takes one look at it, doesn't recognize the structure, completely refuses to metabolize it for energy, and sends it directly to your kidneys. Within 24 hours, you excrete almost all of it harmlessly through your urine. It provides virtually 0 calories, 0 usable energy, and 0 fat storage. But bypassing metabolism is only the beginning of the allulose story. Here is where the reverse sugar phenomenon truly earns its name. What happens if you eat allulose at the exact same time as regular carbohydrates? Let's look at the clinical evidence. In a fascinating 2018 randomized controlled trial published in the journal Nutrients, researchers gave participants a meal containing standard carbohydrates. In one group, they added a small amount of allulose to the meal. The results were staggering. The group that consumed the allulose saw a significantly blunted blood glucose and insulin spike compared to the control group. How is a sugar lowering a sugar spike? The secret lies in your digestive tract. Remember that allulose looks almost identical to regular sugar. When they enter your gut together, they compete for the same absorption pathways, specifically a transport protein called GLUT5. Because the allulose is taking up space in those transporters, it physically blocks a portion of the regular glucose and fructose from entering your bloodstream. It acts like a biological bouncer at the door of your bloodstream, slowing down the absorption of the carbs you just ate. This means you get a gentle, rolling hill of blood sugar instead of a massive, inflammatory mountain. This gentle curve is the absolute cornerstone of sustainable metabolic health, keeping your energy stable and preventing that mid-afternoon crash that sends you running to the vending machine. Now, let's take this a step further, because the benefits of this rare sugar extend deep into your hormonal signaling. If you have been following health news over the last few years, you have undoubtedly heard about the explosion of weight management medications like Ozempic and Wegovy. These drugs work by mimicking a hormone in your body called GLP-1, or glucagon-like peptide 1. GLP-1 is a powerful satiety hormone. When it is released, it travels to your brain and turns off the hunger switch. It also slows down gastric emptying, making you feel full for much longer. What if you could stimulate your body to release its own natural GLP-1 without a pharmaceutical? Recent literature, including an eye-opening 2022 study published in Nature Communications, has demonstrated that when rare sugars like allulose travel through the lower intestine, they interact with specialized endocrine cells called L cells. Because allulose is not rapidly absorbed and metabolized like regular sugar, it reaches these L cells and gently triggers them to secrete natural GLP-1. By swapping out your standard sweeteners for this rare sugar, you are not just saving empty calories. You are actively encouraging your gut to produce the very hormones that make you feel sustainably nourished and satisfied. You are working with your body's natural chemistry, rather than fighting against it with restrictive, misery-inducing diets. With all these incredible, science-backed benefits, you might be asking, why isn't this in every food on the grocery store shelf? Well, here is where we run into a fascinating geopolitical divide. If you live in the United States, allulose is widely available. The FDA granted it GRA status, which stands for Generally Recognized as Safe, years ago. They even took the unprecedented step of allowing food manufacturers to exclude allulose from the total sugars and added sugars lines on nutrition labels, because it simply does not act like a sugar in the human body. However, if you are watching this from the United Kingdom or the European Union, you will find that allulose is currently effectively banned from commercial sale. Now, a lot of misinformation circles the internet claiming that Europe banned it because it is dangerous. That is completely false. The European Union operates under a very strict novel food framework. Under this law, any food that was not significantly consumed in Europe prior to May 1997 is automatically classified as a novel food and must undergo years of rigorous, expensive, and bureaucratic safety assessments before it can be sold. Because allulose is a rare sugar, it wasn't produced in massive commercial quantities back in the 1990s. It is currently locked in regulatory red tape, undergoing safety reviews by the European Food Safety Authority. The science shows it is safe, but the bureaucratic wheels in Europe turn incredibly slowly. For those who can access it, there is one very practical question we must address: what does it do to your gut? We have all heard the horror stories, or perhaps experienced them firsthand, of sugar-free candies made with sugar alcohols like erythritol, xylitol, or maltitol. Sugar alcohols are notorious for causing terrible gastrointestinal distress, severe bloating, cramping, and osmotic diarrhea. This happens because sugar alcohols are poorly absorbed into the blood. They travel down into your large intestine intact, where your gut bacteria feast on them, fermenting them into gas, while simultaneously drawing massive amounts of water into your colon. Allulose behaves very differently. Remember when we talked about how it bypasses your liver? Approximately 70 to 80% of the allulose you consume is absorbed into your bloodstream in the small intestine, and then safely flushed out through your kidneys and urine. Because the vast majority of it never even reaches the large intestine, there is virtually nothing for your gut bacteria to ferment. Clinical trials show that humans tolerate allulose exceptionally well. While you should never consume huge, industrial quantities of any isolated sweetener, normal culinary doses of allulose provide the sweetness without the agonizing stomach bloat. So, how can you immediately implement this biological hack into your daily life for maximum benefit? The most strategic, effortless application is using allulose to extend your morning fast. Many of you utilize intermittent fasting to give your digestive system a break, stabilize your insulin, and promote cellular cleanup, also known as autophagy. But let's be honest, drinking plain, bitter black coffee every single morning can feel like a chore. If you add regular sugar, honey, or even milk to your coffee, you immediately spike your insulin and break your fast, shutting down those fat-burning and cellular repair pathways. Because allulose provokes zero insulin response and provides zero usable calories, you can stir a teaspoon or two into your morning coffee or tea. You get to enjoy a genuinely sweet, comforting morning beverage, but your body metabolically believes it is still completely fasted. It bridges the gap between biological optimization and actual human enjoyment. It is a small, sustainable lifestyle change that pays massive dividends for your metabolic harmony over years and decades. Here is the doctor's verdict: blunt the sugar spike. In the end, achieving optimal health is not about punishing yourself, and it is certainly not about swearing off everything that brings you joy. The reverse sugar phenomenon of allulose proves that when we deeply understand human biology, we can find brilliant, natural tools to support our metabolism. By incorporating this rare sugar, you can blunt your glucose spikes, naturally stimulate your satiety hormones, and protect your precious fasting windows, all while genuinely enjoying the food. Keep nourishing your body, stay curious about the science, and I will see you in the next video. Watch this video suggestion, it was especially picked for you. Also share, comment, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. It helps a ton with the algorithm. Remain tuned for future videos to empower your health and fitness journey. So, stay healthy, stay happy, and keep going.